Andrew, I have to say, as I was reading the 200 or so page filing today, I was thinking in legal terms all the way through, beginning with the table of contents showing exactly what they were presenting legally today. But when I got through with it all, legally wasn't really where I was, and I knew you were coming on here tonight and you could do the job for us. What is your legal assessment of the presentation in this filing today?
Sure. I mean, there's no question that you have been presenting to viewers what is the real take home here. But in order for Dominion to succeed, I think it is important for viewers to understand what is required by the First Amendment. And because there's real protections that the Supreme Court has dictated for people like you and me and even people at Fox News, there is a very high standard that needs to be met. And so what Dominion needs to do is, with respect to each alleged defamatory statement, and they go by defamatory statement by defamatory statement. So for each one, Dominion's going to need to show by clear and convincing evidence. So that's more than a preponderance, more likely than not, but it's a little less than proof beyond a reasonable doubt. It's between those two. So it's a higher standard that the Supreme Court has required. They need to show that the person who made that statement, or a person who is responsible for making that statement, did so knowing that it was false at the time or in reckless disregard of the truth at the time. So it's not enough that the statement is later shown to be false. It has to be something that is known to be false at the time. And that's why in the brief, sort of the back half of the brief, that is exactly what Dominion is doing. Because the nature of the papers that we've been reading is Dominion's trying to say to the judge, I don't know that we even need a trial. There may not be a fact issue here. Right. So you can decide this case simply on the record. I don't know that that's going to prevail. I think there's some factual issues, such as punitive damages, at the very least, that would need to be decided by a jury. So at that point, I could imagine a judge saying, look, we're going to have a trial anyway. We're going to need to do that. There could be issues with respect to each individual being able to prove that they knew at the time. It's not enough to say this person knew it was false. You have to show that that person knew it was false and was responsible for the statement at issue. So you really need to connect everything up. By the way, it's very similar to a criminal case. So I just think everyone should know this is a very strong case. Lots of First Amendment lawyers, much more steeped in First Amendment law than I am, have said this is the strongest case that they have ever seen. But having said that, it is really important to know that there's a reason the law requires such a high burden, and that's because that we're all entitled to these First Amendment protections. And frankly, Lawrence, you're entitled to it because as part of the Fourth Estate, it's really important that lawsuits not be brought to deter you from speaking out. What lawsuits can do is deter you from saying something is false or being reckless when you're saying that. And so that's why there's this very high standard.